The other day I saw Batman vs. Superman, so I decided to do a review on it. So, the plot is easily by far the weakest point in the movie. I mean, it's so confusing, I can't even explain it. I mean, I I just have to look on Google for it. Alright, so the basic plot is that it's been nearly 2 years. Well, according to Google, it says 2 years, but Man of Steel came out like 2013, so that doesn't even make sense. So basically, then the loss of life and collateral damage left many feeling angry and helpless, and that includes Bruce Wayne, or Batman, obviously. And then he's convinced that Superman is a threat, so then he's launching an attack against him, and then on the other hand, so is Lex Luthor. And that right there, I literally just had to read that right off of Google. That's how confusing the plot is. I mean, I had no idea what was going on for pretty much the whole movie. Well, I'm sure that the plot would have made more sense to someone who's like a really big expert on Batman and Superman and superheroes and stuff, but I'm not like that big an expert on that kind of stuff, so that's probably that's why it was so confusing. So basically, this movie is basically unless you're like a really big superhero fan, you're probably not gonna understand what's going on. Oh, and one more thing I'd like to add on the plot is that the screen constantly goes black like this, and it's really annoying. Well, I wouldn't say constantly, but probably like 3 times within the first 10 minutes. And then after that, it doesn't happen that much, but still. Then, I was disappointed that they didn't battle until the very end, but the final battle is epic. And I'm gonna say right now, the ending, I'm not gonna say much because it'll be some really major spoilers, but I'm just gonna say it almost made me cry. Almost. Now this part is where the movie really shines. The effects look phenomenal. I mean, everything just looks so realistic. I know that the effects are obviously CGI, but it's really good CGI. I mean, everything looks fantastic. Like, from the superhero powers to the buildings falling to pretty much everything. But if there's one thing I'd like to nitpick about. Wait, I can't think of anything. That's how good these effects are. Along with as with the effects, the action scenes are amazing, and they're the highlights of the movie. The action is amazing. Every action scene is great, from the ending to when the superheroes are trying to save somebody, to pretty much every other action scene in the movie. Pretty much all of them are amazing. Although one thing I feel I need to nitpick about is that while the action is great, there are some points where just for a large chunk of it, there's not really anything action going on. Like it's just like two characters are talking or something like that. But that doesn't stop the action from being really good. And when the action is there, it is extraordinary. So the characters, I was also really confused. Like I wasn't sure who was who. Well, besides Batman and Superman, of course. So yeah, like the story, I was really confused, and you probably understand it more if you were like a really big expert on superheroes and villains. So first of all, we've got Batman. And he's the one that thinks that Superman is a threat. And then Superman is the one who is thought to be a threat, but he's not really. There is one more thing about Superman, but I can't say it because it will be some really major spoilers. Then we got Lex Luthor. He's basically the villain. One more thing I'd like to add with the characters is that you have to look out for some cameos, like Wonder Woman is in there, and then I think maybe Aquaman, but I can't remember. Although not nearly as confusing as the story, the characters still are confusing and there's not much to them. Although when the action scenes are there, they're really good and the effects are really extraordinary, the plot and the characters are confusing and those things aren't going to make sense unless you're an expert on the superhero genre. And if you're an expert on that kind of stuff, you can go check this movie out. But even if you're not, you can still go see it if you want to see an action-packed movie and some really good effects. While Batman vs. Superman may be a disappointment, I've seen worse superhero movies. Like, much worse. Like Iron Man 3. And I've also seen much better also, though. Like, The Incredibles, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ant-Man. If I had to say what I think of this movie, I would say it's mostly okay, but really confusing.